Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello, good afternoon, and welcome to yet another episode of XANDERMONIUM, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and on today's show, along with my very special guest, Will Kohler, editor of Back to Stonewall and fellow gay rights activist, we will be looking at gay rights activism in a little more detail. More of that in a mere moment. Apologies for the late opening of the chat room, but it is open right now, so come join us. You can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the show page. You can also call us with questions. We'll have the phone lines open throughout. You can call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061 with your questions or comments or anything you'd like to share with us. You can also tweet us. If you're afraid to ask a question, you can tweet me and I'll ask it for you. My Twitter handle is @XanderGibb. That's XANDERGIBB, capital X, capital G, Xander Gibb. And you can also tweet Will, and his is all capitals, Back to Stonewall, BACK, the number 2, and Stonewall, STONEWALL. Okie dokie. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest today, editor of Back to Stonewall. Please welcome the one, the only, Will Kohler. Welcome to the show, Will. How are you?
Hey, Xander, I'm fine. Minus 5 gay points for you for not being able to spell Stonewall, by the way.
Well, I worked till like 5 a.m. this morning, and my brain is still in Manhattan somewhere. But do you want to just respell that? Tell them your Twitter handle so they can tweet you.
The Twitter handle is at BACK, the letter 2, STONEWALL. At the Stonewall.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your website, what you're trying to do, how long it's been operating, etc.
Well, my website's been up for about 3 to 4 years now. Actually, probably a little longer, but that's only when I was like playing with it. You know, I actually created and designed the website to harken back to like news, the way news was presented in the old days of LGBT media, when it was more in your face and opinionated, where today a lot of the LGBT media sites try to be so even-handed and, you know, oh so professional that they go middle of the road. A lot of the passion is lost in the reporting. A lot of talking points are lost. And, you know, I just felt it was time to put LGBT journalism back into the venue where it's there to do some good, not just to report on the fact that, you know, Ben Whishaw got married, like today. I mean, I posted that, but I also post about, you know, like, things that are going on in Russia, things that are going on in Middle America, you know, the crazies from the AFA, FRC, and all those other hate groups. Because I really think that, you know, we need sites that actually do no-holds-barred reporting. I mean, yeah, I'm never going to get award from HRC or GLAAD for obvious reasons if you read my site. But, you know, I mean, I'm not there to make them look good or make them feel good. I'm there to tell everyone what's really going on.
Well, I think that's where we're both kind of very similar, and it doesn't make you very popular, to say it how it is. And on a lot of sites kind of like paint it up to be all wonderful, and kind of have a slanted way of reporting LGBT news. And it kind of really bothers me, because what's the point in doing it if you're not going to do it right? What's the point in doing it if you're not going to say how it is?
Well, a lot of it, too, is it's so much of it's gone commercial. I mean, you look at my website, which is basically a glorified blog. I don't do it for money. I make pennies off the ads that are on it, and it's so little it doesn't even matter. Maybe pays hosting and domain re-registration a year,
Yeah.
But, I don't do it for the money. I do it for the passion. I do it to put stuff out there, to make people think, to give people an alternate view of what's going on and what they hear. And, people ask me why I do it, and I'm like, well, if I do this and one person reads it and they learn something or they see something from another angle, I've done my job. I've done something good.
I totally agree.
LGBT media has just become so commercialized. If you look at The Advocate today, which is, of course, only online, but, look at the articles that were written today and, do a Google search to articles that were written in the 70s and 80s and compare the writing styles and the passion in the writing and the want for, like, LGBT equality and the way things are covered on the gay angle instead of being covered so middle of the road because they might be getting an award someday. Yeah, it's totally different.
I have to agree with you, and I think I don't have any backers from my website or from my show. And someone actually said to me recently, we were considering advertising on your show, but we find your subject matter too controversial. And I thought, great. I would rather be seen as controversial and say it how it is than be in the pockets of advertisers. I would rather pay for it myself. I would rather do a job and pay for it all myself so I can get the message across with an unslanted, with no bias, than actually be concerned about, will this advertiser or will this funder be concerned about the particular content in this article or a piece that I'm doing for the show.
That's
Go on, sorry.
I'm sorry. Well, that's very true. I had someone who used to post every now and again who stopped because he was looking to get a job in one of the organizations like HRC, GLAD, or whatever, and he thought being associated with my website would be not detrimental to him getting the job. But,
right.
I just want to say there are still other people other than me that, blogging's taken a huge hit. Huge hit. I mean, there are many, many, reasons people say, one's HuffPo, LGBT Voices, people are posting there now instead, people just get tired of it. A lot of times people just get tired of not being supported by other people in the gay community. I'm kind of hooked in with the other LGBT bloggers and news media, which is strange. I'm definitely the redheaded stepchild of the group.
Right.
I like to joke that I'm the Kathy Griffin D-list person. But, there are others out there who still do it and, put out, what's out there. Alvin McEwen of Holy Bullies and Headless Monsters, for one. He does a great job. There are a lot. There are a lot of people out there that still just do it from the heart.
Right.
Instead of doing it from the pocketbook or doing it from, I'll get a GLAAD award for writing this. I frankly don't care about getting the GLAAD award. Frankly, if I got one, I probably wouldn't accept it. But, and that's something that really needs to happen again. People need to get in there and let their voices be heard. Because until your voice
I don't know about you, but
heard,
I find it really disappointing that the gay community as a whole seems to have become sedate. And there's just a small section that will stand up and say what they think is wrong. And to me, it's really concerning that it's just a handful of us that are prepared to stand up there. Because people say to me, why do you do it? Some people don't like you because you're outspoken, and my response is, I want my epitaph to be, when I die, I want to. I don't care about how much people like me. I care about how much of a difference I've made. And for me, that is the key element to all of this. This is what keeps me kind of striving to keep sharing information and highlighting causes and making sure that people are made aware of what's going on, because the community as a whole seems to have become sedate. I mean, you might think that's unfair, but that's really how I feel.
Well, actually, I don't think it's unfair at all. And actually, I can quote in the history why it became so sedate. I mean, you really have to bear in mind, too, that, after Stonewall and the gay sexual revolution in the 70s and everything, when people were finding their voice and they were out there screaming, hey, hey, ho, ho, gay person's got to go, marching every day, protests were made at a drop of the hat. It was a totally different world back then, and then, unfortunately, into the 80s, we got into AIDS and epidemic that wiped out a majority, almost an entire generation of people that were doing this. And then, in the late 80s, groups like the HRC came around, the Human Rights Campaign, the National Lesbian Gay Task Force, which, instead of being activist, went more with a business-like activism plan. Right. They took over, they got the money, they went corporate, and, with the majority of, true activists, no longer around, there was no one else. And so they came into power, and, people just got into this whole thing, well, I'll do my part, I'll send money. Right. Now, after all this time, they're beginning to get a little bit of backlash. I mean, HRC is not nearly as popular as it once was. Yeah. National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, nobody knows what the hell their task is anymore. And, GLAAD's just all over the place. So, people are beginning to find their voice again. It's all about harnessing them now and getting people out there. I'm involved with Netroots Nation, LGBT Connect. The LGBT Connect group is apart from Netroots Nation, but we're responsible for bringing together grassroots activists and bloggers and some media people and everything. And some organization heads do come to get together so people could actually have their voices heard for a change. Right. And get together and do things. In 3 days, in June, we started a thing called Test Me, which would go into National HIV Testing Day, because, AIDS is far from over. In those 3 days that these grassroots activists worked together and came up with this plan, by 2 weeks later, they'd reached over 1.5 million people just by using social media. They spent a whopping total of $8 on paper. And they reached 1.5 million people. I mean, they got it all over the place. And these aren't people that are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in an organization. It doesn't have to go through 9 board members before you can even say yes on it. I mean, these are people that just got together, did the work, said, hey, let's do this, and did it. And we need a lot more of that.
We do, but I think a lot of these bigger organizations, it's become more about the awards, the grandeur, being seen to be doing things. I mean, a lot of these organizations I've totally withdrawn my support from, because if you can't live it, if you can't stand up to it, for me, it actually becomes pointless. I for a long time supported the No Hate campaign, and then when they refused to sever their connection with the McCains, because the McCains used the No Hate campaign, to sell their snake oil products. When they refused to sever their connection or take their pictures down, I was like, can't be associated with hypocrisy anymore. And unfortunately, it does get to the point where you have to make a stand and say, I'm not supporting this anymore. And unfortunately, you actually get seen in the community as being very radical, but I would rather be radical and not be a hypocrite.
Well, I'm not really saying that, like, the big gay orgs don't do it don't fight for a good cause. I mean, they do, but, we really must face it. It's a job to them.
Right, absolutely.
It's not a passion. I mean, the head of the HRC makes $380,000 a year plus benefits.
Kidding me.
I would do that job for $75. Yeah, but that's it. I complain about this to people, and they say, well, you got to pay the best to get the best, and I'm like, I don't think that's right.
No.
I mean, you want someone with passion. I mean, you want someone. I mean, I'm sure Chad Griffin has passion. Don't get me wrong. But, if he did, he could also do the job for $125,000 a year, It's just mind-boggling me when I learn how much these people actually make.
So tell me, why do you think in 2013 there's such an imperative to stand up for gay rights? Why do you think that there's this imperative?
Well, now more than ever, because history is just repeating itself all over the place. You have the religious right again, which were more majority in the 80s, trying to stop everything, and they're always going to be bitchy. I'm sorry, can I say that?
Of course.
And they're always going to be fighting, and standing up against us, and we've always and. I was thinking about this the other night. We've always used the theory that, we'll let them talk themselves into a hole.
Right.
We'll let them talk themselves crazy. And you know what that does to happen? They just keep on talking, and we're too afraid to say anything back. It's only when we stand up to them and fight and they come back with something even crazier that
Not
they
me, Will.
with that.
I'm not afraid of them. They don't scare me. What can they do to me?
Oh, me either. I mean, Tony Perkins, the head of the FRC, it's a well-known fact that, he's been honored by, white supremacist groups. For some reason, we can't get that into the national media. I don't know why. It's because, they think that's fighting dirty. I believe in fighting dirty. I have a problem with the Democratic Party because they don't fight dirty. They're fighting the Republicans who are pulling out every nasty trick in the book, but then you still have the Democrats saying up, and my noble member on the other side of the floor. I mean, noble member of they should be saying, and that scumbag Republican on the other side of the floor.
Member is the only appropriate term there. I mean. Everything else is just pomposity as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I'm totally, Obama really has not done enough.
No.
And he really hasn't. I mean, he's done some things, but
he has. Let's
our
face
organizations have blown it up to make it the biggest thing in the world. When we're being thanking and grateful for things that we should have anyway. And, most honesty, a lot of the things he did were just workarounds around DOMA. I mean, they never changed DOMA. They were just things that could be halfway done. We had to take care of DOMA. He didn't really do much at all. It was only in the last minute that he, gave a statement to the Supreme Court. But we did work. He did it.
Not Obama. I mean, I have to say I'm pro-Obama, but there are certain things that he's done and not done that kind of piss me off. But
he's okay. But in full disclosure, he was never my choice for president anyway. I wanted Clinton to get the nomination, but
let's face it, Will. Wouldn't you rather have 5 Obamas than 1 Mitt Romney? I mean, Mitt Romney scared the shit.
No, most definitely. But I'm just saying, let's give credit where credit's due, but let's not, give the key to the city for something that should just be getting a thank you.
Yeah.
He did some good things, but, they weren't nearly as big as people made out. I mean, they could have been done by any president. He did them. He did them, though. But he didn't change anything that, to make it happen. He he just did things like, working around things. And, that's still good. But, it wasn't worth, like, falling on your knees and giving him head for.
No.
Excuse me.
No. But I would.
I use it.
But that's that's a whole different show. We in the chat room said, don't you think that same-sex marriage is pretty much legal and everything else will follow? Actually, Joe, no, I don't, and I'll tell you for why. Number one, and Will can tell us what he thinks right after. Number one, for me, gay marriage should not be a state-to-state issue. It should be a federal law, in line with equality and in line with the Constitution, because there's no statement in the Constitution as to the sex when it talks about marriage, the sex of those involved, the gender, and secondly, for a few states to have it on the books. What about the people that live in other states that can't do that? Now, part two of this for me, somebody challenged me the other day and said, why are gay people just not happy with civil partnerships? And this was my immediate response. The reason gay people are not happy with civil partnerships is because it does not afford us the same rights as heterosexual couples that get married. And if it did, we would not be having this argument now. Because if the civil partnership, you see, it doesn't matter what you want to call it, because the big hoo-ha is about the difference really between marriage and holy matrimony. Gay people are not asking for holy matrimony. They're asking for the rights that come with marriage. So don't say that civil partnership is enough when it doesn't afford you the same rights. Like you don't get the same medical rights, you don't get the same pension rights, you don't get the same immigration rights. Would you agree with that statement, Will?
Well, I definitely agree that marriage is far from a done deal. People have to realize that only one section of DOMA was struck down by the Supreme Court. There's still two more standing. It's going to actually have to go through legislature again to be struck down via legislature. Again, we only have, I think it's 12 or 13 states that gay marriage is legal in. And those just also happen to be probably the easiest states it was to win them in. The Northeast, California, and that's it. We have about 37 more really, really hard states to get it passed in. I mean, the Midwest is going to be hell to get.
Of course, the Bible Belt is hard.
If we go by the state-by-state thing, which I always thought was stupid, that, you got another at least 10 to 15 years, no matter what the groups tell you. I mean, I live on the Ohio-Kentucky border. As much as we want it here soon, unless there's some serious influx of money and help, it's not going to be here for another 10 years, easily. There are just too many Republicans in control, and there's just too many ill-educated people on the matter. Now, when it's getting down to, why civil unions are insane, you made the point. You don't get the same rights and benefits that married couples do. And when I hear, the holy rollers like Perkins and Gallagher and Brown and everything saying, it's like God, marriage, blah, blah, blah. Fine, then how about this? How about we just take all married couples, benefits and everything away?
Right.
You want to get married in a church? Fine. That's all you do. You get married in a church.
Yeah.
And then we'll be on equal ground. You get no benefits for your marriage, and, the civil partnerships are, treated the same way. That's fine, as long as we're on an even ground. I mean, I could really give a frig if it's called marriage, as long as all the same benefits are there. I mean, I've never been stuck on the word. It's used on the right as just a huge smokescreen, and it's not really that far from done. And there's just still so much to do, especially with ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. To think that in 2013, people in America are still being treated like second-class citizens, being denied jobs about who they are, being denied housing, being discriminated against, is one of the most shameful things this country could ever think of. And for the fact that other people don't think that And just for the fact alone that other countries, I know you have, like, British viewers. I know that you have people in England. Just for the fact that other countries don't make statements against the United States about that is mind-boggling, because that's what's really needed.
Right, and you raised England, and I never thought I would live to say this, but England is so much more forward-thinking than the UK, than the U.S., and I never thought that would be the case. You know, they have
Girl,
they have
tweeted it before, and I'll tweet it again. I really think that we would have been much better off if we lost the Revolutionary War.
I say that again. You're saying you think we would have been better
I
off.
tweeted it before. I'll tweet it again. I think we'd be much better off if we lost the Revolutionary War right now. You know,
let me give you an example. In the UK, as a gay man, no employer can turn me down for a job on the basis of my sexual orientation. Now, there was a case, the Roman Catholic Church, and don't get me on to them because I've got so much to say about them, but they refused. They were saying that they should be exempt from this rule because of religious reasons, and the British government said, no way. If you want to function in the UK and be a part of the United Kingdom, you have to be a party to this law. There are no exemptions. You cannot refuse to employ a homosexual person because you disagree with their orientation. Like it or lump it. And I was like, yeah, you go. That to me that is really the way forward, because ultimately you can't have equality with exceptions, because then it's not equality at all, you know?
Well, that's very true, and that brings us into a problem with ENDA in the United States, ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, which is, once again, coming up before Congress. It was originally, in a way, brought before Congress way back in 1972, where they actually wanted to amend the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That fell through. So years later, they came up with ENDA just to deal with job discrimination. The problem is that now certain groups in the gay community, i.e. Gay Inc., some of the organizations, think it would be fine to give religious exemptions to churches and, businesses that are owned by the church, colleges that are owned by the church, hospitals, things like that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that doesn't fly for the fact that, it really shouldn't matter if a clerk in a hospital is gay or not,
right?
Or, a janitor. But also the thing is that they're actually hearkening to the 1964 Civil Rights Act that actually does have a religious exemption. But that religious exemption is not against a subset of people. Now,
right.
Religions are allowed to discriminate under the 1964 Civil Rights Act in hiring by religion, which means that, like, if a Buddhist would apply for a job in a Catholic church, that they could pick a Catholic person over the Buddhist, even though the Buddhist would be more qualified because of the teachings. They're not discriminating against the Buddhist because he's white, black, Indian, female, whatever, just because of his religious affiliation. Now, today, organizations who are writing ENDA and be involved in ENDA are trying to sell giving religious exemptions to the church and church businesses and hospitals and everything against gay people as the same thing, and it's not. No. And anyone who buys that is insane. I mean, the way ENDA is written now, it will give carte blanche and write discrimination into law in this country against LGBT people. There are many LGBT Catholics. Yeah. So, I mean, it'd be pure discrimination, and it's something I'm totally against. I've been wanting ENDA to pass for such a long time, and now when I found out that this is the way they're writing the religious exemption, I just went insane over it.
Right.
I don't think I really have much worry because I really doubt it's ever going to get through the Republican House. What does worry me is that if they try to push it this way, it sets a precedent for next time. Right. If it gets passed by some strange reason, it will set a precedent for any other law that will cover LGBT people by allowing exemptions to people to discrimination against them.
Absolutely, and the thing is, for me is that, my mom always says to me, isn't about equality for all. Yes, it is. But because I'm gay, this is the section that I'm kind of working with. Yes, I do want equality for everybody. I really do. But it's too big a job to be fighting for every section, and I'm sure women's rights advocates, et cetera, are just fighting for their section of the community. Because
I fight for them too. I mean, it's like I'm totally pro women's rights.
Me too.
More than definitely more civil rights for everyone, no matter what race, color, creed. I've marched in like many protests outside, like gay protests. I mean, we do multitask. We all need to multitask more. We all need to work together more. That's part of the problem here, too.
We do.
I mean, we're also compartmentalized. It's ridiculous. Even in the gay community, we're compartmentalized. In the 70s, gay meant everyone. Gay meant, the lesbians, the transgenders, the bisexuals, 70s, 80s, if you were gay. Then it became LG, then it became LGB, then it became LGBT, and when we compartmentalized everyone, they started looking out for their own little group's issues instead of working together as a whole for full equality, and that really hurt us a lot too. I love my trans sisters.
Do you use Q in the acronym? Because I get told off now for not saying Q, but as far as I'm concerned, the Q covers everybody anyway, because if you're questioning, you're surely one of the above anyway. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I sort of believe that too, and if you're questioning, you're usually 13 or 14, so, it's I have a thing against the acronyms to start out with, because if we keep adding on, sooner or later it's going to be like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I mean, why can't we all be human rights, civil rights? I mean, I care about everyone in our group. I mean, I've always been sort of offended in a way by other groups within our community who say that, people don't care. And I really hate it when they say privileged people don't care, and they mean gay white men, and I'm a gay white man, and, I care more than anyone, and it sort of hurts me. I mean,
you're gay, Will?
Oh, yeah, all right, I just outed myself on radio. Oh, my God. Someone please tell John Barrowman.
My listeners will be surprised.
Yes. But, we all need to, throw the bullshit and luggage away and just start working together. And
I write about all aspects of equality, and I had people saying to me recently, I wrote quite a heated piece on the outcome of the murder of Trayvon Martin, the trial of George Zimmerman. And people said, "What do you know about equality? What do you know about equality with regards to black people?" I don't have to be a black person to understand discrimination. I've faced discrimination all of my life, and so having experienced one type of discrimination kind of gives you a base to see things from for other types of discrimination too. The George Zimmerman thing was just horrible. I just can't even go. I mean, yes, there's a lot of racism in there, a lot of discrimination in there, but, I really wished someone would have brought up the whole gun control argument, the stand your ground law. That never would have happened without that. No. I mean, if that happened in New York, would be starting a very long prison sentence right now, surely.
I'm sorry?
If that happened in New York, George Zimmerman would be starting a very long prison sentence right now.
Oh, most definitely. I want to bring up something from while we're here. Ender's Game.
Right.
Because you have a large UK audience, and it'll be opening there too. And I never really hear much going on in the UK about the boycott of Ender's Game. And I'd really just like to throw out there to the UK listeners that, I mean, it's really important that we take a stand on this. That, the whole thing that Lionsgate made a movie from someone who wrote such heinous things about LGBT people that belongs on the board of like a hate group in America. And, they paid him for the story. He is a producer on the movie. He will get profits from this movie when it's made, if it makes profits, which it surely will, which I'm sure he will dump back into his gay hating, and he's never apologized to us. He's asked for tolerance for his movie, but he's never said, I'm sorry. He's never said, I've changed my mind. Lionsgate keeps spinning this, that the movie itself is not about anything anti-gay. The whole point is not about the movie. It's about enabling someone who hates us to go on more. If this movie would have been written by David Dukes, who was a head Klansman, I don't think they would have bought it.
No.
It would never be made. If it was written by an anti-Semite, it would never have been made.
Right.
We are just so trodden on, and no one says a word. Boycotts aren't usually successful. I don't expect the boycott to cripple a movie. Just like the Stoli boycott with Russia. I don't expect boycotting Stoli to, like, cripple the Russian economy and cripple Stoli. But I'll tell you one thing about these boycotts. In the small bit of time that they've been going on, such focus has been made on the issues themselves. The Stoli boycott's been on two weeks, and there has been more focus in the mainstream media about the anti-gay atrocities in Russia in those 2 weeks than there has been in the past year. And that was all because of the Stoli boycott, and that made it a success.
Some
and
people are
it's continuing being a success.
For a bit more information about the Ender's Game thing, Will, can you fill them in a little bit more on that?
Okay, well, Orson Scott Card is a science fiction writer. Back in the 80s, he wrote a story called Ender's Game. It won some sci-fi awards. It was very, very popular. In the 90s, he started to go a little batshit. He's very, very anti-gay. He's, like said publicly in articles that gays should be thrown in jail, that, same-sex marriage would never be passed, that he'd overthrow the government. He's a board member of the National Organization of Marriage, which is, just one step shy of a hate group in America. And, he's been supporting, and he's been doing this for years.
Right.
I mean, so, eventually Lionsgate and Summit Entertainment bought the rights to the movie, and they brought him on as a producer of the movie because they think it would be a big summer blockbuster because it was like a bestseller. Now,
but it should be boycotted because of his affiliations, basically.
Yes. I mean, it's not about the story. It's about, the enabling of him and, his anti-gay hate. I mean, Lionsgate didn't have to buy this movie. You know, there are many other movies, and the whole thing is that he's going to make more money. He's made millions off this movie already from the rights, and he's going to make millions more off his producer credit, and that's going to go back into, like, fighting LGBT rights.
Right. Don't you think that not just people in the community at large should start boycotting people where it hurts, hitting them in the pocket? Companies like Target, who give money to homophobes and homophobic organizations like Tom Emmers in the GOP. Why are we not boycotting people more? I won't ever buy another Elton John record because he played at the wedding of Rush Limbaugh. These are things that are all examples of capitalism gone.
Well, we all have our own personal things that we do. I mean, you have to look at it this way. I don't shop at Target. I mean, no. Why would I? I mean, I've always been a strong community on also spending my money at gay businesses,
right? At
LGBT businesses and supporting the LGBT community. Which
I mean, I do, but I'm not going to pay 3 times the amount for something just because it's a gay company. You know, there in the early 90s. There was this ideology that we should only be shopping and using our money with gay companies and stuff, but the gay companies were charging 3 times as much, and the gay services. You know, why would I get someone to come and change my locks because they were gay or gay friendly if I was going to pay 3 times?
Because unlike Walmart, the gay companies aren't probably having their stuff made in sweatshops in China and like not paying their employees a living wage and. Not offering benefits, that's why it costs more.
But not so much for services and service providers.
Look, everyone has to live with their own conscience, and they have to pick and choose what they fight for and what they stand for. I mean, in my opinion, going to see Ender's Game is no different than buying a copy of Mein Kampf and the royalty going to Hitler. All right, so I'm not going to do that. If you want to do that, fine.
Right.
But I mean, not that you would do that, but it's not really fine if you do that. If you do that, you're fucking insane. But I mean, it all comes down to a personal thing of what you're willing to do, how passionate you are about it. Again,
I mean, I have to say, I always thought that Lady Gaga was a fabulous artist. Very flamboyant, good singer, good musician. But when she turned down that multi-million-dollar deal with Target. In the name of equality, it really spoke volumes to me, because who else would do that? I mean, some would argue that a lot of it is because she didn't want to lose her gay following, but my God, that was a multi-million-dollar deal. Would have made her rich beyond belief, but she turned it down.
Gloria Estefan, on the other hand, did do it, and she used the excuse that Target had donated to pro-LGBT things, which it does, because companies like that also play both sides against the middle.
Yeah.
But the one thing you always have to remember,
what's her name? Latino singer, J-Lo. She just played in some European place that has a dictator, Turkmenistan, and said, "Oh, well, I didn't know about it." This is the thing. Money is such a guiding influence to people, and it's very unfortunate. But I can't hold truck with people that say, "Oh, I didn't know that it was the case," or "Well, they do this," or they've done that. Wake up and smell the coffee. I mean, isn't it time that we started to be a little bit wiser about these things?
Oh, most definitely, which is why people need to read more independent websites and more independent blogs, so they learn these things, because these are not the things you're going to see in the mainstream LGBT media and blogs. I mean, media and news sites. I mean, let's get real. Which is why everyone should go to www.backtostonewall.com. That's www.BACK2STONEWALL.com. All right, I had to put that plug in there, okay? It was the perfect time.
Okie dokie. So, let's talk Russia. I am sick to the back teeth of Vladimir Putin and his total nonchalance towards gay people. You can be arrested for saying the word gay. You can be arrested for saying that you are gay, holding hands in the street, using the rainbow flag, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, isn't this how Nazi Germany started? It's very frightening. And
and I'm sure some idiot out there is going to quote Godwin's law, and because that's just over-abused and misused. But, it is. I mean, the sad thing is that there's really not much we can do from over here. The show with the Stoli, the boycott, is good. They're trying to spin it that, it's made in Latvia. Well, it's made in Latvia by 600 people. All the ingredients come from Russia. All right?
This is the thing for me. Sorry, go on. You finish your point. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it's just like they also play that Stoli plays that they're supporters of the LGBT community because they sponsor Pride parades. There's a difference between supporting and sponsoring for marketing,
right?
Which is what Stoli does.
Absolutely, there is a world of difference.
You know, as far as the Olympics, you know, we have to realize that there's really no way that the Olympic Committee is going to cancel the games in Russia. None whatsoever.
They should. I mean, I heard something when I was doing my research that said they were gonna not pursue these laws so vigorously during during the Olympics. Well, what about right before and what about right after? You know, I think that what they have to do is the way you
too.
Yeah, absolutely. The way you affect these issues is financially. And I wrote an article recently about cutting aid and trade to countries that have proven human rights violations. How long can we go on ignoring these things and giving them aid?
Oh, most definitely. You know, to be part of the UN. Russia just broke a major thing about being part of the UN. The UN should kick them out.
They should.
I mean,
why are people
they won't, but they should.
Why are people not more appalled by this, though? You know?
Well, a lot of people were unaware of it. I mean, you know, I keep a good eye on everything. You know, the LGBT community and media is a microorganism. We preach to ourselves. We rarely get stuff out into mainstream media. And when we do, it's through things like the gay organizations, and they usually only put things into the press that they're involved in. They're not involved in this. You know, I mean, we preach to the choir. We don't get things out there. We started the boycott on Stoli, which is a well-known brand, and then all of a sudden people outside saw it. They knew, and they learned more. Like I said, they've learned more in 2 weeks about what's going on in Russia than in the past year when they signed that law in the bill. Right. I mean, that it's made it onto mainstream news is a great thing. I did want to say, though, one more thing, but I forgot what it was. And I think it had to do with, the Olympics. They're never going to cancel it just for the fact that it'll cost them a ton of money, and it's too cheap.
Well, you know what? If they don't cancel it, I won't be supporting it. I won't be commenting on it, apart from to express my dismay. And frankly,
what I think would be the most fitting thing in the world if these athletes are actually going to do that. During that March of Nations through that stadium, everyone who believes in LGBT rights, all the athletes should be paired up in same-sex couples,
holding hands, wearing rainbow flags,
and waving rainbow flags. They should be making a statement.
Dear Russia, fuck you. I mean, people like Johnny Weir, he won't censor himself during the Olympics, but you know he's still going to go. And for me,
Johnny who's come out of the closet for like 15 years, even though everyone knew he was flaming. Please, I have no respect for Johnny Weir. You know, it's.
I still think as a gay athlete, he shouldn't be going. No one should be attending those Olympics who is either gay or supports gay rights. And I think they've really messed them now for big music artists because they're now saying that they're talking about having legal action against Madonna and Lady Gaga for being outspoken in their support of gay people. And to me, it's ridiculous saying that they're guilty of gay propaganda so they can kiss goodbye to performances from big artists. I think that
it's a crazy
they will have
world,
to because if they don't concede on this point, they're going to be an even poorer country.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. And we all should do something to make that happen. I mean, Stoli isn't the only Russian product. I mean, there are many Russian products. You know, the downside of a boycott is that it does hurt workers. But the whole thing is that, you know, they're also there and they should be standing up for the right thing.
They should.
I'm sorry.
I'm sure that people like Johnny Weir will be making a mint from endorsements alone by going to the Olympics. You see, I'm sick to death of all these gay/gay friendly celebrities saying how much they support the LGBT community. And then as soon as they get a chance to prove that, they're either playing at Rush Limbaugh's wedding or taking part in events that go against what they've said already. And I think people need to remember these things. Show your support for people that support you in your community, not any old asshole who's going to drop their moral standards just to make a fast buck. I mean, surely.
No, I totally agree with that. I
think it's absolutely imperative that we have all of these things in mind when we make purchases, when we support people, when we buy music, whatever it might be. We really need to ensure that we take these things into account. I mean, I didn't go and burn all my Elton John records, but I certainly will not ever take him seriously again, and I will not be supporting him ever again. And it's a shame because I like his music, but you know what you're gonna do. It's so important to
you do what's right for you, and you do what's right. I mean, you tell your friends, you talk to people, you outreach, man. I mean, you do what you have to do. You do what's right, and you try to show other people to do what's right. And
if people in the UK on Saturday, August the 10th, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m., they're having a peaceful protest outside the Russian embassy to protest against the gay rights and human rights issues that are going on in that country now. And there's if you look on my website, www.xandergibb.biz, we'll post the information on there too. Also check out MC Kinky's Facebook page for all the details. There's an event scheduled on Facebook, so go and check that out and go and support if you're in London on Saturday, August the 10th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. outside the Russian embassy in London, and it's a peaceful protest. Spread the word. Check out the webpage. Go and support gay people in other countries that are being treated badly.
Right on.
So let's talk a little bit about Raven Simone. I got very angry the past couple of days, seeing people tweet things like, "You have spoiled my childhood by coming out." I mean, fuck you, you know. But people that are in the public eye,
spoiled your childhood. Well, then you obviously don't have much of an adult life.
Yeah, 50 times harder to come out.
It's ridiculous. I mean, people on Twitter are idiots. Well, not the people who follow me and I follow, mind you.
No,
they're smart.
Absolutely. But this is the thing. I don't think that she's responsible for anything or anybody but herself. And it's a very brave thing to come out. She could have stayed in the closet longer never.
I mean, God bless her. And you know what? Queen Latifah should take a cue from her.
Allegedly.
I'm not even saying allegedly anymore.
Because you know she'll sue you for saying she's
There are
alleged.
pictures. There are pictures. It's not allegedly.
Well, you know, I think that there's her. There's several people. Oprah reckons she's not gay, and Gail is just a good friend, and good luck to her. I don't think we should be outing people, but frankly, it's 2013, people. If you can't be honest and open about your sexuality, even just as a support mechanism for other people or for younger gay, bisexual people,
I don't call it outing when someone lives in a glass closet, because everyone can see. I'm just directing people to look.
Really. And I think
now,
that,
if it was someone else, like a few other people I know, that would be outing. I mean, it's like Lindsey Graham, and am I outing him? No. Everyone knows. You know.
The sky knows that.
Not that
Lindsey
anyone would
Graham
ever sleep with him, but everyone knows.
So one thing we talked about the other day was this gay couple that were ordered to move to the back of the bus. You wrote about it on your site. I mean, what the hell was that all about, you know? The guy has got on the bus and asked them to move to the back because they were holding hands. I mean...
Yeah, these guys went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they were going to go to Albuquerque Pride and then do a travel through the West. And they landed in Albuquerque and got on the shuttle bus, and they were sitting up front, and the driver saw them holding hands, and he went all crazed and was like, if you're going to do that, you have to move to the back of the bus. And
well, if you're going to hold hands?
The guys were like, this is... I'm sorry? Because they were holding hands. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
And then when a woman who was getting on the bus actually saw what they were doing, what he was doing, she said she said to the driver that was appalling what he was doing to them. And he replied, do you want to see appalling? Look at them back there, and pointed to the couple.
So holding hands
now,
is
let's just talk about holy shades of Rosa Parks here to start out with.
Yeah.
Does anything describe bigotry and discrimination more than being put in the back of the bus?
I mean, anyone who knows me will tell you that I'm the biggest complainer, and if I feel that I'm treated badly by an organization for whatever reason, I'm the first one to contact them. And I believe they contacted this company, and the press contacted them too, and they said, "Oh, we could not, we're not available to comment right now." I mean, how ridiculous is this? What the frick next?
Yeah.
And even get on a bus.
At this point, not only should that company apologize, the city of Albuquerque should be apologizing.
Yeah, because let's face it, how many gay people are going to want to visit Albuquerque now after this?
How many actually want to visit it before that? No, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I know.
As we're talking about couples, we also talked recently about John Arthur and Jim Obergefell, is that how you pronounce it? They had to fly to Maryland to tie the knot. They live in your jurisdiction. They live in Ohio, and there's no gay marriage or recognition of it in your state. So they had to pay $13,000 to fly to Maryland, where they got married on the tarmac, and they filed a federal suit in the state of Ohio, saying that its ban on same-sex marriage was unconstitutional.
Yeah, Ohio has one of the strongest and most hard DOMAs for the state that were ever written. I mean, civil partnerships, domestic partnerships cannot be recognized by the state in any way, shape, or form.
Really?
That's how harshly it's written. And one of the two gentlemen has a terminal disease. He's dying of Lou Gehrig's, and he's actually in a hospice. And one of the reasons it was so expensive is because he's bedridden, and frankly, he probably doesn't really have a lot of time left. And they wanted to be married before this happened, so they went there and they got married. They came back here, and they decided to go to court and fight the state DOMA because as it is, if the partner passes away here, the other partner won't be listed on the death certificate. And the judge here, granted them the restraining order and said that yes, if anything is to happen to one of the sick partner before this goes to trial and everything, that the state has to list the other partner as a spouse. And so far, the state has not put in the Attorney General has not fought to the restraining order. It's still up in the air if he is going to fight the complaint that was put in by the couple. My bet is that he's going to once news dies down, because he's up for re-election this year as a Republican. So it's horrible. I mean, it's Ohio is hello for gay people. It's very sad. It's one of the reasons why the state's dying. Not just because of this treatment to gay people. No companies want to move here. I mean, it's like bringing your...
There's also a commercial aspect to all of this for me, Will, because I think, and I was thinking about this yesterday, I think that eventually what will happen is lots of gay people and gay couples will move to more gay-friendly states. And gay people, allegedly, I don't know where mine is, but have this higher disposable income. with not having kids and stuff. So I think that eventually there is going to be a migration of gay people longer term to states that are a little bit.
It's funny. I've been saying for years there should be a gay underground railroad to get people from the Midwest up to the Northeast.
Yeah.
People who can't afford it. I've tried to pimp myself to get married in Canada and England just so I could get the hell out of here.
Yeah. And I think the ridiculousness of all of this is that all this is just so archaic, and why are we still freaking debating it? Why does it make a difference that I want to marry someone that I love who happens to be the same sex as me? If we want to just do the same as you, pay taxes, live together, be afforded the same rights, why does it make a difference to anybody else, And the other thing I want to know is, where is the societal fabric that's so fragile that gay people are tearing at it? In Walmart the other night in the fabric section, and they didn't have any of it. I mean, please. I'm sick with all the BS. I really am. It's, it's so...
And much of the blame...
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, and much of the blame actually does go back to the Democratic Party for not having the balls to stand up for what's right, and the fact that they allow blue dog Democrats, who are really nothing but Republicans and Democrat cheap clothing, to be in their party, and the Democratic National Committee and the DCCC just don't know how to handle their House. Harry Reid doesn't know how to handle the House. Nancy Pelosi doesn't know how to handle the House. They can't get everyone on the same page. They have no cojones. They have no backbone. They're always afraid they're going to offend people that aren't going to vote for them anyway. So, it's an issue. It's really an issue.
Well, I'm kind of I'm disappointed with the whole caboodle at the moment. And who are we going to vote for in 2014? We can't vote for Hillary just because she's a woman and just because she makes the right gestures. I think rather than have another Republican, I would rather have Hillary, but it beggars belief as to who is a viable candidate for the LGBT community to support. I mean, I actually thought for a while that Rand Paul would possibly that person, but I'm so down in my estimations even just in the last few weeks. And the scary thing is that I thought he was one of the more front runners with regards to people deserving of LGBT support.
You are so off base. You're so off base. You're playing another game.
He taught me that,
Oh, Rand Paul's always been anti-gay. He's been an anti-gay teetard from the beginning.
Wow.
Go to my website and search Rand Paul.
I certainly
believe me. Kentucky is just right next to Ohio. Yeah,
right.
I know the man. He's a big old greaseball crazy.
But what about Cruz? People have been trying to sell him to me too, but he's a Republican, isn't he? Ted Cruz?
I'm sorry.
He's apparently very pro-gay, and
the only good Republican to me right now are Republicans who are not in office. Because no matter how much they say they're gay-friendly, they're going to go in there, they're going to vote for, Boner for, Speaker of the House or whatever.
Isn't Boner a really appropriate name for him?
Oh, yeah. Believe me, the whole thing of trying to court the Republicans and getting them on our side, if you can get 1 or 2 votes, that's fine. But when it comes to actively, campaigning for them over a Democrat, that's just insane.
No.
It's the Victory Fund did that in the last election. They supported in Massachusetts a gay Republican candidate just because he was gay.
Right.
Over the incumbent Democrat, who's one of the top 10 progressive Democrats in Congress. And,
right.
That was just insanity on a stick.
So I mean, there's rumors that John Kerry might stand again. I don't know whether that's true, but he's very pro-gay, and he's just done something in his home state for same-sex marriages, giving them preferential consideration for visa applications.
Yes, but you know what? As Secretary of State, he still hasn't issued any statement about Russia. Neither has President Obama. And I guarantee you that if Hillary was still Secretary of State, she would have already issued one.
Let me tell you this, Will. If there was oil in Russia, President Obama would already have sent peacekeeping troops into there. The only reason they didn't send anybody into Syria is because there's nothing to rape, there's nothing to propagate, there's nothing to steal. So I'm very disappointed with the whole setup right now. I really am.
Politics has always been the lesser of two evils.
Well, yeah, there is the lesser of two evils theory, but I'm like I said, I would rather have had 10 Obamas than one Mitt Romney. Really.
Oh, of course. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm anti-Democrat. I just think they need a kick in the ass and like a cattle prod.
Well, when they criticize the Bush, I nearly said regime. Isn't that terrible? The Bush administration.
No, the regime was probably the correct word.
Yeah, when they criticize the Bush regime for its lack of transparency, and then the Democratic Party becomes just as bad, if not worse, it kind of makes you very disappointed, I think. It really does.
Well, there's no transparency in government. There's no transparency in politics. There's no transparency in gay leadership organizations. There's no transparency in anything anymore, and that's really a sad thing.
Absolutely. So we're coming to the end of our time together, Will. What I would like to do, if you're up for it, is to end it on a light note and play a game of marry, fuck, or kill. How do you feel about that?
Play a game of what?
Play a game of marry, fuck, or kill. So I give you three names, and you tell me whether
I know how to play it, believe me.
Right.
Oh, God. Don't hold this against me.
Before we do this, no, I won't hold it against you. Not on the radio, dude. What I'm going to do just before we play the game of marry, fuck, or kill is I'm going to give out the phone number because afterwards we will be taking calls. I know that Tyhe from the band Farewell to Alchemy is going to be calling in to tell us some of his news. But you can call us on 347-884-9061, and Tyhe will be calling us right after this game of marry, fuck, or kill with Will Kohler from
people.
To Stonewall. All right, so first three names, Will: Chris Brown, Will Smith, and Justin Bieber.
Well, I definitely kill Bieber.
Right.
I kill Brown, too, if you let me, but since you won't. But I definitely, this is an easy one. You marry Will Smith, you hate fuck Chris Brown, and you kill Justin Bieber. Easy.
Okay. Right. Next three names: Barack Obama, Mitt Romney, and John Boehner.
Well, kill Boehner, fuck Obama. Well, I mean, I don't mean fuck Obama, but, fuck Obama. And hate fuck Romney, and hopefully get to hate fuck his sons, because some of his sons are hot. No. Who,
Mitt Romney's sons? I actually think it's quite unfortunate, but I think, what's her name? What's that wicked witch called of Wasilla? Why does her name escape me?
His wife?
No, the woman from Alaska.
Palin.
Her son is quite hot, too. She'll probably sue me for saying that because you're not allowed to talk about her kids, but he is of age. All right, next three names: Karl Rove, Ann Coulter, and Lisa Lampanelli.
Oh, God, I'd marry Lisa.
Yeah, me too.
I'd definitely marry
fabulous.
Lisa. She's fabulous, buddy. it's hard with Karl Rowe and Ann Coulter fucking because I don't fuck outside my species. So, I'm just going to kill them both. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. I get that sentiment exactly. All right. Next 3 names: Kevin Spacey, Xander Gibb, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm being set up here. Well, Xander, of course I'd fuck you. I don't really hate Schwarzenegger and Spacey all that much. Spacey I just hate more because he's an alleged closet case, even though there are photos.
Yeah, I heard that.
And so, what the hell? I'd take a roofie and fuck y'all.
Okay, right, next 3 names: Scott Disick, Stephen Dorff, and Seth Green.
And who's the first one?
Scott Disick from Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh. I'd marry Dorff. He's still hot, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Even in his age now, he's still hot. I'd fuck Scott with like triple condom, and I'd kill Seth Green. He's annoying.
Okie dokie.
Funny, but annoying.
Next 3
and he's
names.
a ginger. I mean, I love gingers, but Seth Green just isn't it.
All right, Jason Priestley, Stephen King, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, wow. Well, that's easy. I mean, I'd marry Freddie Prinze Jr. because he's cute. It'd be nice to wake up to him every day.
Yeah, and then you get to him every day if you marry him, don't you? Let's face it.
I'm sorry?
You get to fuck them every day if you marry them rather than just...
Yeah. You know, a joint and a 6-pack, I'd fuck Jason Priestley. And, I'd kill the other one, Stephen King.
Okay, two more groups before we finish. Peter Capaldi, David Tennant, and Matt Smith.
Oh my God, I'd so marry David Tennant. I'm sorry, I hate Matt Smith. I'd kill him. I think it was the worst season of Doctor Who.
You hate Matt Smith? I think Matt was really good. I would have rather they kept David Tennant,
all right.
but
don't make me go all gay geek on you. Because if it wasn't for Amy Pond, he and Rory, his whole first 2 seasons would be a total flop.
Yeah, I agree.
It was all about the companions.
I swore
it was all about the companions.
I swore off Doctor Who right after they got rid of David Tennant, but I gave it a go for Matt Smith. But I think that Peter Capaldi is a mistake, and I think that they should have gone with Xander Gibb for the new Doctor, but I am a little biased. All right, last 3 names for you.
I think they should have went with Connor Habib.
What?
I think they should have went with Connor Habib.
Who's Connor Habib?
He's a porn star. He's
Never
a porn
heard
star.
of him.
Tweet him.
Is he like the modern day Jeff Stryker?
No, he's cuter.
All right, last 3 names for you, Will. John Goodman, Sean Connery, and George Clooney.
Marry George. Fuck John Goodman. And kill. You said Connolly, right?
Yep, Sean Connery, as in James Bond.
Oh, Sean Connery. Oh, no. Then I fucked. I married John, fucked Sean, and then killed John Goodman.
Killed John Goodman. Wow. Well, that was our final group of people. No, you can't change your mind on this show, I'm afraid. That was our final group of people for the Marry, Fuck, or Kill game. So, Will, tell people where they...
I mean, given those choices, I would definitely kill John Goodman and fuck Sean Connery. My God.
Poor John. The bear community just stopped following you there, Will. Tell us, Will, tell people where they can find you, on Facebook, Twitter, and your website.
Well, you can find me in this little backroom bookstore. No, you can find me at
probably
Twitter at Back to Stonewall, BACK2STONEWALL. On Facebook, you can follow me at Back to Stonewall, and on my website, which I plugged before, www.backtostonewall.com, BACK2STONEWALL.
Brilliant.
It's been a pleasure.
Make sure you check Will out on Facebook, Twitter, and his website. And make sure you check out the articles on his website. Very worth looking at. Will, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you'll come back and join us again.
Most definitely, when I'm not having a sinus attack.
You have a great one, man. It's been a pleasure. I was going to say you need to sign your tab. See, that was a free advert then for sign your tab. Have a great weekend, sir.
I need vodka, American.
I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Most definitely. You have a very good night, and I hope the rest of your show goes wonderfully.
Thank you very much, Will. Take care. We'll see you again very soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was Will Kohler, the editor from BackToStonewall.com, gay rights activist and man of many talents. Check out his website, www.backtostonewall.com, and tell him that Xander sent you. I see my next guest is already on the switchboard. So without further ado, I will welcome back to the show, should I say, Tyhe Egar, the lead singer from the band Farewell to Alchemy. Are you there, Tyhe?
Hello. How are you doing, honey?
How are you doing?
I'm good. You?
I'm fabulous. I'm tired today because I worked late last night, and
I know you were late. I was going to catch you last night, but it was all too late. But you're not on your own. I'm insane right now, so I can appreciate what's going on. I'm insane.
Did you say you're in Spain? How come you're in Spain? I thought you were in Glasgow yesterday.
I'm I'm still in Glasgow, yes, but I'm completely nuts at the moment. Yeah, my life is not my own.
Did you say you're in pain or you're in Spain?
No, insane.
Oh, insane, right.
Yeah, and can I just say, Will, if you're still listening, I was so liking you until you dissed Matt Smith. Matt Smith's my favourite new Doctor.
So what do you think to the decision to replace him with Peter Capaldi?
Well, Peter is a great actor, but I'm just really pissed off that they've gone back to a middle-aged guy again. What's wrong with young people playing Doctor Who?
Yeah.
It just gets on my nerves.
And I kind of like the gay element between David Tennant playing the Doctor and what's his name, the American guy who played
John Barrowman.
John Barrowman. Shouldn't they have played that up even more? You know.
He's actually Glaswegian.
Yeah, he was born in Glasgow and was raised between Canada and America or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's Glaswegian. His parents are Glaswegian. They still live in Glasgow. But also Peter Capaldi had a character who was murdered in a Torchwood series. So it's all very confusing. But Doctor Who's very, very confusing because a lot of the people, Peter Davison, who played by the third Doctor in an episode, it all gets very strange. It's the BBC. It's the UK, darling. We get very bizarre. So. But
Peter Capaldi was also in an episode of Doctor Who, and he played the Prime Minister in one episode. So I guess that's where they saw him and thought, you would probably make an ideal Doctor in the future.
Well, no, apparently he was apparently up for it around the same time as Matt Smith, but they decided on Matt Smith. So
why are they Matt Smith going so soon? It's not even been a year yet, surely.
No, but they're always constantly looking for people, I suppose. But it all gets really strange. We're talking about Doctor Who, how bizarre is this? But you see, right now, originally, the mythos of Doctor Who, there can only be 13 generations. the 13th generation is the final one for a Time Lord. That is the end. That's it. Now, so far, in the new series, since Christopher Eccleston, who did a fantastic job of resurrecting the whole Doctor Who series, they've changed things slightly, so I don't really know what's going to happen. Because, and I'm sorry for my American listeners, I really, really apologize now, but since American BBC have got involved, it's all got really a bit fucking stupid, frankly.
Yeah.
Because the final episode of the last series, and the last series was quite dreadful. They had John Hurt, as the final Doctor, and it was very Indiana Jones. It was awful.
Didn't you John Hurt as Doctor Who?
But Xander, really, literally, the title against it was The Final Doctor is John Hurt. And the idea that you could disguise John Hurt's voice is absurd. And he turns around in this mad, dramatic, end title, and there is John Hurt as the 13th Doctor. And they're saying, well, this is the final one. So Peter Capaldi is the 12th Doctor. So basically, when he finishes, the next one has to be John Hurt, and then it has to be the end of the series forever. So who knows what's going to happen next, But can I, by the way, actually, while we're just on a complete tangent, just to go back, because obviously I've been listening to the show and I've been listening to you and Will's talk, and as you know, I've been in the blog talk and talking to John T. and people. And as you know, I do like to promote my favourite musician, Colton Ford. You've been talking about Russia and the atrocities and the awful things that are going on there with our brothers and sisters there. Now, a few months ago, as you know, because you signed the petition for me, I did put it on the blog speak. I sent out a huge petition through Twitter asking every single person that I follow on Twitter, it was through Amnesty and CARE organisation, please sign this petition. It was to stop, to protest and raise to our politicians to speak against this. And it was a couple of months ago. And Colton Ford was one of the few who instantly sent me a thank you to say not to raise himself, just to say thank you for sending me this. I had no idea about the link, and he signed it and retweeted it. And all he sent back to me was thank you. Didn't rate, not to say I've signed this or make a big issue of it, just a thank you. And I ended up having a short Twitter conversation with him, and at the end of it saying, do you know what? Actually, it really means something that you've done this. It's really important that people like yourself are doing this, not making an issue, not raising your own profile, but just doing this. And because he's followed by thousands and thousands of people. He's got over 10,000 people following him. And it was just so, and I just thought that's special. That's important, that you've done this. Because all he did was send me a thank you. And now, if you don't follow me, you would have no idea what that thank you was about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to raise that. So for everybody listening, and you're talking about musicians, and we're talking about huge people like Lady Gaga and Madonna, and of course those people should be supported and thanked for their support of our community. And I mean, Madonna certainly has always been there for a very long time, and Gaga certainly has been there from the beginning of her career. But people like Colton, who obviously is part of the gay nation, but still, he's there and he's standing up and he's being counted. And he's not where they are. He doesn't have the platform that Gaga and Madonna have.
No.
So I would like to raise my support for him as a musician, as a fellow musician. I'd like to raise my support for him in that sense. That he stood up.
Absolutely, and it's imperative wherever you are in the pecking order, as it were, to use your voice, even if that's just clicking on a link and signing a petition. That's something everybody can do. But gay rights and stuff aside, tell us about what's been going on with Farewell to Alchemy, your band, because I believe there's been a few changes and very important news.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well. Basically, obviously next week we're going to give you a call because I want to introduce you to my protege, Vincenta. She's a 26-year-old lady who I've known since she was 11. I mean, basically, I treat her like a daughter, really, or a niece. Farewell to Alchemy has become a team. It's an organic thing now. There's so many things going on in it. It's not just Neil and I. Neil and I are still the co-writers. Neil, as we speak, is frantically sat in the studio finishing off the production of the album. The album is released on the 19th of August. So you know that's not that's not a long time. It's not very far away.
No.
But basically, Roland Music International have got on board. They've created a new piece of technology, and they've asked us to be the first people in the world to use it.
Wow.
So we, on the 16th of August in Glasgow, in a theatre called Courtier Theatre, which is a beautiful little theatre in Glasgow. It's a converted church, which is the only kind of church I would dare walk into.
Without burning up on entry.
Well, exactly. It's no longer used as a church. Do you know what I mean? It's not consecrated ground anymore.
It's a good job, Billy, isn't it? Let's face it.
So we're doing a live performance which is being recorded, but with this new technology, and Roland Music. Basically, we're going to get one of our executives are coming up for the performance. We've got the CEO of Milestone Media Group coming up for it, because we're promoting a group called a thing called the Passion Project, which is an amazing thing that's happening. It's only happening in England at the moment, but we want to bring it to the Scottish government, and inevitably, of course, we want to bring it, everywhere. But it's to help young people. It's helping young people get out of gangs, or help them, get away from that, get them out of drugs. But it's helping them through music and sport as well. But obviously, from my point of view, or our point of view, it's helping them get away, helping them to express themselves through music and writing and expression. And through work as well, and work experience, and genuinely giving them a sense of self, and it's something I'm really proud to be a part of. And what Farewell to Alchemy are doing, we're actually going to gift the Passion Project a song. So Neil's going to rework a particular song, and we're going to release that as a single, and that's going to be promoted. But all the proceeds from that song will go into the Passion Project. We will not make a penny from that. But on the 16th of August, the album, we are performing the entire album live using this technology with Roland's music, obviously using Roland's technology. And it's the first time that I've ever done this myself. So some of it will be pre-recorded backing track with live musicians, which I've never, and you know yourself, I've never done this before.
Yeah, we don't like pre-recorded normally, do we? We like live.
No, exactly. It's a very strange thing for me, but it's also a very exciting thing to do as well. So, as you know, we've just released, the second single is now released, Maestro, it's just been released. But that's going to be the final song of the show. So what we're doing is the show is going to be recorded in two halves. So the first half for the audience is the entire album recorded live. Now, the Roland, bearing in mind, for everybody listening, I am not a tech head, so this is the only way I can describe it. Basically, this technology has been produced so that you can edit a live performance as it is happening.
Wow.
So you don't have to record it and take it away to an editing suite and then play with it. You can do it as it's happening. So what we're attempting to do is broadcast this thing live.
And I guess that's something Neil is going to be taking charge of. Is it the editing while performing live?
Well, it's all me, darling. Sadly, I'm going to be the one stood on stage trying not to have a mental breakdown.
Gosh.
Trying to remember the lyrics that I've written. And also, making sure that Vincenta, although she's been on stage before, this is something, wait till you speak to her next week. You're going to love her. She's batshit crazy.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Oh, no, she's got, and what we're trying to work out, Neil, as I say, frantically working at the minute in the studio, because what he wants to have is a finished track of hers for you so you can play it, just so you can hear her voice. Now, people listening to this who are now, everybody listening, before I say this, because Xander will have a fit, I would like to state now for listeners, I am much older than Xander, okay? But when I say this to Xander now, he will know what I mean, and anybody listening who is of our age. Sometimes Vincenta sounds a little bit Hazel Dean.
Right. But that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. I think Hazel Dean's voice.
Yeah, absolutely. She's got a great voice. So hopefully, we'll have this track that Neil can send you through the week that you'll be able to play next week. I'd love you to hear
Brilliant.
it.
Brilliant.
So this is going to be this is massive pressure for her because it's going to be the first genuinely professional performance of her career and using this brand new technology that nobody's ever used before. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. And saying that, as we speak, we've no idea, what the ticket sales are like because the theatre are in control of the tickets, not us. So we could be performing to 20 people, or we could be performing to 250 people. With no idea.
Right. Well, I hope it's a bigger crowd. I hate performing to just a few people, but you give just as good performance whether it's 20 or 2,000.
Absolutely,
Talking of news, Tyhe, I have some news that concerns both of us that I actually just found out today. Those of you that are regular listeners will know that Tyhe and I have worked together a lot of times musically, not just live, but also in the studio. And we were also both good friends with a producer friend of ours called Ben Bufton, who died at the beginning of this year. And I've been talking to his wife lately about something to kind of memorialize his work. And as a result, we're gonna put out an album with the best of Ben's Ben's recordings and writings. So that's something that's gonna happen, and we'll be including songs that we did with Ben too. So I think that will be a really nice tribute to Ben Bufton and his work.
That would be fantastic. Oh, that would be really fantastic. And I lost everything. I have no recordings of my work and Vanessa's work with him. I lost it all.
Well, I know his wife has got everything. I mean, she said she said she's got like his private collection of stuff. So that will be great.
So you and I are there, and me and Vanessa, because I lost everything.
Right.
So that would be amazing.
Right. Well, maybe there'll be. I'm going to be chatting with her next week, so maybe there'll be a chance of getting copies again of the stuff you did with him.
But you know what? It would just be so nice for the world to hear because he wrote great songs, and there's only one song I co-wrote with him. The rest he wrote, and I just did as I was told in the studio. He was a great producer and writer, so it would just be lovely for people to hear his stuff. He was a lovely, lovely man.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this will be a very fitting tribute. And the idea is to get all of the contributors to write a few sentences about their experiences with Ben in the studio. But I'll give you more details of that as I know. But what I would like to do, if you don't mind, Tyhe, is tell people that your single is out now on iTunes, the single Maestro. And if you don't mind, I'd like to play it for people so they can get...
thank you. That would be great.
All righty. So without further ado, this is Maestro by Farewell to Alchemy.
As your fingers
That was my show by the fabulous Farewell to Alchemy, and I'm live now with Tyhe Egar, the lead singer from Farewell to Alchemy. So did you both write that, Ty, or was it just you?
No, well, Neil's the music writer. Neil's the man that makes you all want to dance, and I write the lyrics.
Right, fabulous. So what kind of response did it had? When did it actually? Was it last week? It went onto iTunes or?
It was, yeah. Well, actually, my show was a couple of days ago, but Neil does this wonderful thing. He just sort of sends me a message. Actually, I found out my show had been released when Spotify sent me a message saying my show is now available. Because Neil gets he gets so involved with his production, he forgets to tell me anything, and then I find out kind of later, and I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, right, fab. Which is really weird because I do a lot of the PR work. And then I have to say, because a good friend of ours, whose sound company that we use, Son of I, he's kind of acting manager at the minute, and I'm kind of, oh, hi, Alan, by the way, the single's out.
I really think the publicity of any project has to be kind of lots and lots of people involved in it. And I think that it's so important for friends and colleagues and fans and stuff to retweet and share stuff, because it's the way that it gets the message out there. I mean, even big artists like Madonna, Cher, Lady Gaga rely on fans to retweet and share and that kind of thing, and we really do have to encourage it to kind of get the message out there.
Absolutely. But the wonderful thing about what I've realised over the past sort of 2 months, I mean, the thing I've been basically what I've done is we've allowed Neil to sort of, we've locked him, we haven't allowed him, we've locked him in the studio and said, produce this album. And I've been running around between here and London and doing whatever, and running up and down between meetings and doing the PR and arranging things and getting the musicians together and sorting things. And what I've realised over the past sort of couple of months is that Farewell to Alchemy, obviously the nucleus of Farewell to Alchemy is myself and Neil, that Farewell to Alchemy has become this team, and I actually kind of opened the dictionary the other day and looked at the word team for its true definition, and thought, yeah, do you know what, that is absolutely what we are. Farewell to Alchemy is a team. And as you and I have always said, I mean, you and I, as you know, obviously years ago worked together and had a great working relationship and worked very well together, and we've always said we must write together again, and we will. Yeah. And I think that's what will happen, even though you are Xander Gibb and I am Tyhe Egar and whatever, it will become part of, I think, that Farewell to Alchemy umbrella, hopefully, because what we're hoping at, because also what's going to happen now is Roland International are also going to put us on their website, and our music is going to be presented to the music industry worldwide when Roland introduce this new technology to everybody. They're going to use our music to introduce it to them. So obviously we're getting amazing advertising. So it's going to put us in a great place. And
that's a fabulous opportunity. It really is.
But that's a great place, and you know who I am. You know, same as yourself. I've been very successful before. You know who I am. That will not put me in an arrogant place. That will put me in a place where I know I can then start networking. As you've just said, I can start networking with my friends, such as yourself and the amazing Susan Black, and other friends, and say, right, let's get this together. But Farewell to Alchemy then becomes this larger thing, and it works, and it becomes something bigger, and it becomes something international. And that, to me, is really genuinely exciting as a musician. And
absolutely.
It's something that, and then as far as a gay man, as a man with a voice, as an activist.
You're gay?
No, I never said that, darling. Who said that? How dare you? Who said that?
It's funny for me how it always comes full circle, like with everything that we're doing. It always becomes very organic, and I find that for me, and I think to some point for you too, that we always come back to working with the same people, because you find out who you work well with, who you gel well with, who brings out the best in you creatively, and I find that you always end up coming back to those people. I found out with this radio show project. I found it with my music. I found it with my writing. You always come back to this creative core with the same group of creative people, and there's always kind of new people being added to that creative core, which keeps it vibrant, it keeps it alive. Frankly, I think it's an imperative to actually keep it going.
It is, but it's also the people you love and trust, you know? It's
Absolutely.
the people that remember, you know, because you and I have been there. We've seen those people turn when they thought they had a little bit of power and success. And
yeah.
They turned, they changed, and then very quickly fell. But then, you know, we've both seen that, Xander. We've both been there. We've seen it. We've stood, but we've also both stood in a place of success, and we chose not to turn that knife or even pick that knife up. And
I'll never forget when Paul O'Grady said, Paul O'Grady, for those of you who don't know, is a TV presenter now in the UK, and he used to work on the cabaret circuit as a character called Lily Savage. And I'll never forget when Paul said, you have to look after people on the way up, because you're going to need them on the way down, and it's so true. And I think there are so many people out there that climb this ladder. They think they're at the top. You know, they miss a footing or something goes wrong, and then they're back down at the bottom. And because they've treated people so badly, there's no one there to kind of help them or support them when they need to try and make it back up again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm thankful that I've never been. See, for me, I totally associate with what you said about not being big-headed. You know, it's like people think that you get up a few rungs on the ladder and you're going to be different. You know, I don't see myself as any different right now. This is just another stage for me. Do I want to be doing radio in 10 years? Hell no. You know, I want to be back into television or, you know, maybe more albums or whatever it is. But it's imperative to remain who you are at your core, because when you don't do that, when you become someone different, when you have a stick up your ass, people just don't want to know anymore. And it's a sad thing.
And this is the thing as well, isn't it? Is that we're both moving. I mean, we've both reconnected. We're both moving towards something. I mean, I stopped, as you know, I got to a certain place in London. I found myself still on stage one night, really not enjoying what I was doing, and I stopped for 5 years. I didn't sing a note for 5 years, and it's actually due to Susan Black that I started singing again. So I have a lot to thank Susan for. But I genuinely stopped. I'd had enough. And in Glasgow, nobody had a clue who I was. Nobody knew anything about my history. Nobody knew anything about my success. And I just started singing again and found a way to love it again. So now I'm in a place where I did it, you know, with the band. I sang and I wrote with a friend called J.B. McKellar with a band called Geranium Lake, who I will sing with again at some point. But working with Neil, this album, it's electro music, as you've just heard my story, it's electro music. But this album, I think, is some of the, actually lyrically, some of the most important stuff I've ever written as a gay man, but also just as a throwaway dance track, you know, just come and enjoy it. It's dance music. You can just have good fun with it. But the subtext to it, so you can do two things. You can either sit and get really deep about it, or you can just dance your ass off to it. But I've had great fun working with Neil, although he's pressed my tits off. I've had great fun working with him, and he is great fun, but he's also a very, very talented producer, and I always know that at the end of the day, he delivers. And I know when I walk on stage in 2 weeks, oh my God, it's only 2 weeks away, I don't start rehearsing till tomorrow, but I know in 2 weeks when I step on stage, I'm walking on stage to some great music, and it, you know, and it's there, and you and I will be writing for his music at some point, so yeah.
Fabulous. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you perform live again and to perform with you. I would love for us to work on to do a live performance of I Know
it's gonna
again.
I'm trying. You know, to be honest, Andrew, I'm actually trying to work out after this gig when we know what's going to happen and where things are going. I'm genuinely actually trying to work out how to get out to you, hopefully before December, if not by January, because I want to involve you in, I've got a few ideas, I want to involve you in things. I certainly want to be seeing you face to face in the next few months, so yeah, it would be great. So I want to get out to New York quite soon, yeah.
Fabulous. So we're coming to the end of the show now, Tyhe. Tell people again the date of your album launch and where they can get tickets.
Oh my God! Well, the performance, if you're listening and you're in Glasgow, it's Friday the 16th of August at Courtiers Theatre in Glasgow. To those of you and the rest of the world listening, the album is released on August the 19th. The band is called Farewell to Alchemy. The album is called The 92 Code, and it's available on iTunes and Amazon on the 19th of August, Monday the 19th of August. Xander, thank you.
And tell people where they can find you, where the website is, where they can find you on Facebook.
Okay. Our website. The best thing to do right now is find us on Facebook, which is the Farewell to Alchemy Facebook page. Just like us. Our website is www.farewelltoalchemy.com, but it's a bit crap at the minute. We have not had chance to work on it. But find it, and favorite it. We will be doing work on it, or Neil will be doing work on it. But at the minute, there's not a lot happening with it. But if you find the Farewell to Alchemy Facebook page and like it, I'm the administrator. You will always know what's happening. Or you can follow me at Tyhe Egar on Twitter, and I constantly update things on that as well. All right,
Absolutely.
honey, and I'll speak to you next week, honey. Thank you so much, Xander.
You're more than welcome.
You.
If you tweet your links after this show, Ty, to Facebook, Twitter, and stuff, I will retweet them so everyone can follow you from there.
Thank you,
but
honey.
thank you so much. Ty is going to be with us, and I'm sorry, I'm terrible for names. What's your
Vincenta.
Say again. Vincenta. Right.
Yeah.
Will be joining us next week for the second half of the show for XANDERMONIUM next week. So thanks so much to Tyhe Egar, and go and buy the single Maestro from iTunes from Farewell to Alchemy. Thanks so much for joining us today, Ty, and I look forward to chatting with you more next week.
See you next week, baby.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was another episode. Actually, it was the 40th episode of XANDERMONIUM with me, Xander Gibb, the talk show that gets you talking. Thank you to everyone for your support, and thank you for your ongoing messages. It really does make a difference to know that you're actually enjoying what we're doing out there. We will see you next week with a musical themed show. Our guest for the second half will be, as I said, Farewell to Alchemy. One of our guests in part one is going to be Todd Michael Schultz. That's Todd Michael Schultz, who's a singer, a fabulous singer. And we'll be announcing midweek who the other guest is. So join us for that. Thank you again to my guest for the first part of today's show, to Will Kohler from Back to Stonewall. I suggest you check out his website and follow him on Twitter and Facebook. That's Back to Stonewall. And finally, thank you to you for listening. Thanks a lot. Take good care of yourself, and I love you all.
Life, it has been good to me this time around. Things were never bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find love, never known true love.